Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I don't know where you are in Canada, but it is raining and dreary and feels like spring because of the rain, and it's definitely doing some spring cleaning here and melting whatever's left of the snow. So it's just a perfect time to have this wonderful webinar, Spring Cleaning Cleansing Tools You Can Count On from Nature Sunshine Products. And there's no better than to present this evening. We have a very special guest, and her name is Sylvie Rogers. And she's done many, many webinars for us in the past, and just definitely someone that we are excited to have and to share her knowledge with you this evening. This webinar is being recorded, so it will be up on the website in a couple of days, just so you know, so you can share this with others. We hope to have a few minutes at the very end here if you have any Q&A. So what you could do is you could type in your questions if you have them. We will answer them at the end, not during the presentation, just so you are aware. So without further ado, I would like you to welcome our special guest, Sylvie Rogers. Thank you so much for being with us here tonight.
Thank you. I am excited to be here, and we're going to have a great time exploring cleansing and looking at some great statistics and what we can do about it so that we can be empowered to take control of our health. So let's get started here a little bit. Just a little about me. I've been with Nature Sunshine for about 34 years and was Manager of the Year once in 2003. We're just really blessed to have accomplished that. We own the Herbal Health Center, and that's my husband and I, Mark. We have 3 children and 8 grandchildren. And I have a background in nursing. It's so interesting coming out of the medical background and talking about cleansing, because that's not talked about much in medicine. So I'm really relieved to be in a place where I am talking about cleansing, and which is a very big function of the human body. And so I have definitely advanced into looking at the body in a very different way. I have some nutrition background. I'm a biofeedback specialist. I do a lot of work with people on the mental and emotional levels and use biblical health principles. So I just love teaching people to help them journey to a better health level, and that's what we're all about. So let's do a little bit of that today. First of all, I just want to say, and we should always have this disclaimer, that this is for educational purposes only. I am not intending to diagnose any diseases or prescribe for you. The information in this seminar is not to be construed as a prescription for what any one person should do. It's absolutely suggestions and tools and education that you can use and consider for your own personal health care. We want to empower you to make decisions. And that's because all of us are ultimately responsible for our own health care. But we can certainly legally diagnose, prescribe for ourselves anytime we wish to, and we just want to put information in your hands. So let's take a look at something that I like to call the stove model. This is something I learned probably in the first year of learning about herbs. And our body is somewhat similar to a stove in some interesting ways. It's a very simplified view, but it gives us an idea here. What does a good stove need with a fire in it? What is it that you're after there? And we're after something very similar in our body, and that's that combustion, that metabolism, that energy, so that we can be energized and vital in our life, just like we want a good burning stove or fireplace. And what it requires is something very similar to what we require. It requires oxygen. And of course, we bring that in through good, healthy, deep breathing and exercise. The stove requires fuel. You can't put wet leaves in there and expect much to happen, just like we can't live on donuts and expect much to happen either. We have to have the right fuel. That's very important. And so many of us are very much focused on our exercise and what we take in, but sometimes we don't think about our eliminative organs quite so much. And we want to draw attention and priority to those today. So we have 4 exhaust pipes. That is our colon, our kidneys, our skin, which sometimes we don't think about that, and our lungs. All of those are releasing waste products on a daily basis. And when we help one of those, we'll help the others. So today we're going to learn how to really take burden off the colon, to give the colon what it needs to do its job of cleansing. And as a nice side effect, we call these herbal side effects, I love them, we are going to help our kidneys and our skin and our lungs actually function better. So the stove model is a great way if you're teaching a class to share with new people just how cleansing and elimination is a part of a healthy body, just like it's the part of our stove model. Our digestive system has several parts. We want to familiarize ourselves with that. It's actually a pretty big system of the body. It starts with our mouth and it ends with the end point, the rectum of the large intestines. And in between we have our salivary glands, our esophagus, our stomach, which is right below our sternum, which some people call the breastbone, our liver, which is under your right rib cage, the gallbladder, which is under the little inner curve of the right rib cage, the pancreas, which is under the left rib cage, our small intestines, which lies under the belly button region, the navel, and of course our large intestines, which come up from the inner hip across and down on our left side. And our digestive system has really been in the news lately, especially with the research of Dr. Perlmutter. And he is likening the digestive system to our second brain. If it's healthy, it gives us added alertness, attention, being able to be involved with others versus withdrawn. And healthy memory. We're actually looking at the digestion and its relationship to autism, to Alzheimer's, and things of that nature. We want it to be healthy because we want a healthy brain, healthy memory, and we want healthy children too. So the digestion is in the news a lot. And I'm going to really recommend that people take a look at Dr. Perlmutter's book, Grain Brain, and some of the other books he's written. He actually has spoken for Nature Sunshine in the U.S. He spoke at our last convention. He was very, very interesting in what he is able to do with autism and Alzheimer's and other things by correcting and balancing the large intestine and the rest of the digestive system. So really interesting reading, and we all want to start being a little more educated into that type of effect. We already know, most of us do, that the digestive system is home to about 80% of our immune system because of those 100 trillion living bacteria that live in there that help protect us. And of course, there should be the proper ratio of good bacteria to bad. Both are necessary in their own certain ways. But the problem is in today's society that a lot of the bad bacteria are the largest component. And the good, healthy bacteria, which are often called flora, are more of a minimal component. And we don't want that to happen. So the reason is, and one of the biggest reasons I think that is concerning people today, is weight management. We're finding in studies that when animals are given good flora and have an intestine of good flora, they can remain slender on the exact same diet that another rat is being fed, only that rat has bad intestinal flora, purposely given. They're eating the same diet, and one is slender and one has a terrible weight issue. And it's all because of the ratio of living bacteria in the intestine. Now that's a very interesting thing because we can really work on that today with some of the information that we're going to discuss. So there's more than 200 studies actually linking inadequate probiotic levels to more than 170 different health issues, and among them, obesity and weight gain. So we're going to start looking at how our colon should function, and the first question I want to ask you is, what is your transit time? And that means, how long does it take the food you eat, perhaps at dinner, to exit your body? We know that healthy transit time is less than 24 hours, meaning what you ate today should be leaving your body tomorrow. But in many people, it's about 70 hours before that happens, possibly because of too much cooked food or low enzyme activity, low fiber, too much sugar, not enough exercise. All those can weigh in. So many experts believe that the average person has 5 to 20 pounds of accumulated waste matter in their colon. Now that's a little scary thought. We always say, I'd like to lose about 5 pounds. Well, we've had people lose their 5 pounds by actually going on a cleanse and having their colon normalize and not have so much material hanging around in there. And this is an interesting thing. That person with a toxic colon can even have 40 pounds or more. So we have to look down at our bellies a little bit and say, what's all in there? Is that all fat, or do we have some food materials that really need to be releasing from our body more promptly? So your body talks. We want to know if, are we listening to it? And here's some of the ways it will communicate. Sometimes we'll have gas and bloating. Sometimes constipation or diarrhea. We can have acid reflux, and particularly that can bother the throat area and the esophagus. We can have skin challenges because our skin is a big reflection of how we're releasing waste products. Motion sickness or vomiting, headaches. And of course, here we see how the kidneys can be burdened, urinary tract infections, trouble sleeping. So many people want nervine herbs when they have trouble sleeping, and sometimes we forget that just helping the immunity and the intestinal system can take care of that beautifully. And an inability to lose weight. Is the food you're eating clinging to your body as fat instead of being digested properly? Because that's what fat really is. It's food that didn't process correctly. Are we having sugar cravings, especially for heavily refined carbs? So that would be candy and cookies and those sort of things. That's just a partial list. I mean, we can have also foggy thinking, tiredness. We can have a lot of symptoms. It really doesn't matter what the symptoms are, even including joint aches. They all can respond to cleansing. Here's a few contributing factors. So ask yourself, am I exposing myself on a fairly regular basis to these? Because you have a lot of control over your health, and you can be victorious in these sort of things. So here's a few of them. Am I eating sugar? And ask yourself this, am I eating sugar on a daily basis? Is it something that I'm craving and wanting almost every day? Am I choosing artificial sweeteners of any kind? Especially am I gravitating toward looking at labels to see if they're in there? What about processed foods? Am I just grabbing something quickly? I remember a family came to me once, and at nighttime the mother would say, go to the freezer and choose the TV dinner you want, because everybody was tired. And we've got to think of more creative ways to have fresher food and avoid these processed foods. What about chlorinated water? Have I investigated a good water filtration system? Pollution, do I live within a couple miles of a freeway? Do I commute to work along a busy road where I'm breathing in a lot of exhaust? Am I working in the city? Those are some ways of contacting that. Am I taking antacids on a regular basis or consuming alcohol maybe on a daily basis? What about agriculture, chemicals, and pesticides? Do I live near a nursery or where there's crops being raised, or where planes are dusting chemicals? What about antibiotics? You know, some people say, I'm not taking antibiotics, but yet they're eating meat and poultry that has been given antibiotics since the time it was small. And so that is a source of antibiotics which can greatly affect our intestinal systems. And it's no secret we live in a toxic world. We know that. And I don't want to dwell on this too much, because sometimes we just live where we live. We can make certain changes, but we have to also accept that we do live in the world. And there are heavy statistics on hospitalization and days spent in the hospital and restricted activity days for asthma sufferers. 8,000 to 24,000 new cases of cancer. Each year, 500 to 2,500 low birth weight babies. And between 3.6 billion and 9.1 billion, that's a lot of money, in cost occurred in Canada every year due to respiratory disease, cardiovascular illness, cancer, and other congenital affliction. That's often what babies are born with, associated with adverse environmental exposures. So yes, it's kind of everywhere. But as far as we can be aware, let's be aware of our water and food, read labels, take the care to go find that antibiotic-free grass-fed beef, that sort of thing. We can make some changes there. We know that even this chemical load starts when we're young. We actually get the chemicals from even our mother. Up to 232 toxic chemicals are in the umbilical cord blood of newborn babies. And so, yes, cleansing and the need to cleanse is a fact of life. We can't really get away from it. Here's a few more Canadian statistics. I think these would be different. If every Canadian was taking, and Americans too, taking Nature Sunshine cleansing products, I bet the statistic would be vastly different. But colorectal cancer is the third most commonly diagnosed cancer in Canada, and the second leading cause of death from cancer in men, and the third leading cause from death from cancer in women, and I believe this is highly preventable. Now, just as late as last year, 2015, 25,100 Canadians will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer. They need you. They need your help. 9,300 will die from it, and that's 12% of all cancer deaths. 14,000 men diagnosed, 5,100 will die. 11,100 women diagnosed, 4,200 will die. 69 Canadians will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer every day, and on average 25 will die from it every day, and this does not have to be. I'm fully convinced of that. And where does some of this come in? How can we develop some of these issues? Because we want to be knowledgeable of what to avoid. And here's a few things, few facts. Flame retardants. Flame retardants are put in couches, baby clothing, mattresses, and sometimes we don't feel like we can do much about that. But this year my husband and I bought a new couch, and I decided to look online to see if a company did not use flame retardants on the couch, on the actual fabric of the couch, and I found one. I found one here, and you have the ability to have your opinion weighed by some of these companies. You don't need flame retardant necessarily on your couch. And possibly there's a point where you can order a mattress without it. Well, you have to investigate the rules and what the government is requiring. But I know we can also look for clothing that's flame retardant free. So that's one step. The other is these phthalates, these plasticizers. Let's be careful of carrying our water around in plastic, and especially leaving plastic bottles in the car where the sun comes in and warms the plastic. The water's not fit to drink after that. If I buy anything in plastic because I have no other choice, I come home and I put it into a glass bottle. So that would be one step in the right direction. Sometimes toxicity can come into our body from infections. And so if we have hepatitis B or C or H. pylori, which is the stomach bacteria that can cause cancer, we definitely do want to look at cleansing and how we can help our immunity through that. Toxins in the workplace. It's really a good thing to ask yourself and find out if you could be any exposure going on to asbestos. That's often in the ceiling or in the material made for ceilings, but it can be in the walls. Radon if you work in any basements, and check your homes for radon. We did that with one of our relatives' homes, their basement, and it was very high. Pesticides, be careful of what you spray around and in your home. Medical radiation, actually it consists of about half of the radiation exposure we get in our lifetime. The rest of it is exposure just from the natural elements of the Earth and solar system. So we're actually likely getting double the radiation we were ever intended to have. So I always say to my clients, ask if there's any other option, and for sure ask about options to CT scans. One full body CT scan can equal 450 x-rays. Be very, very careful of that. Some websites are saying, be careful in having a CT scan unless it's really a life-threatening, serious thing that you have to find that information out. So investigate for yourself. You want to make your own decisions there. Shift work is hard on the body. Heavy exposure to sun and UV radiation. These are all ways that toxins can come in and create more of a need for cleansing. And of course, the medical route of diagnostics for the colon today is basically the colonoscopy. I have many clients ask me, should I get one? And this is a case, I'm not a big doctor person for myself, but there are certain screenings that I think are very helpful for people, and this one is an easy way to detect something before it ever develops, and I do encourage my clients to consider colonoscopies, and they're really usually advised after age 50. So there's a couple possible solutions here to promote a healthy digestion in colon. I'm kind of having a little fun with everybody. One, lock yourself in the closet and to avoid all toxic exposures. And believe me, you won't even avoid them in your closet. So that's kind of just that's not an option, folks. So utilize quality cleansing supplements from Nature's Sunshine products. And here we're going to look into some great quality organically produced items, and we'll look at each one individually. So one thing I want to share with you is something I personally do, and I've been inspired to do this because I visited different countries where Indonesia is the last place I visit, and many, many restaurants offer these types of drinks with your meals. They call them detox drinks. And so I want to give you an example of one, and here's where you might put some pineapple juice in your blender, 1.5 cups maybe, or less, a cup's probably fine. An inch of peeled ginger, an excellent, excellent soothing herb for the body. Maybe a small green apple. Tart, sour products are very good for the stomach. The juice of 1 lemon. We know that lemon is excellent food for the liver and gallbladder, as well as the whole digestive system. An inch of unpeeled English cucumber, very cooling in its energy. Maybe a little handful of chopped kale and a few ice cubes, and whisk that up and have a wonderful, wonderful green drink to take some of your cleansing products with. And this adds extra enzymes. Enzyme activity is very important, especially if we eat a lot of cooked food. We can balance it first thing in the morning with a healthy, healthy drink. And this would be a great, great lifestyle change to undertake, is to start having this as a healthy habit. Add a brisk walk, some deep breathing, some dry skin brushing, and then we can start adding in our cleanses and we'll get even better results. There are a few words of caution in cleansing, and I'll just briefly mention them. If you are taking fiber, and we all need fiber, we all actually could do with some fiber supplements because it's hard to get the amount of fiber required. It's about 25 grams per day for a woman, and about 35 to 37 grams per day for a man. And it's tough. It's really tough getting that full amount. So fiber, if we take it as a supplement, it requires adequate water. That's very, very important. And how do you calculate adequate water? It's your body weight divided by 2 in ounces per day. If you want to know how many cups that is, just divide that number again by 8. Stop any fiber product if you're not eliminating properly. Meaning if after you take it for 2 or 3 days, nothing's coming through, we want to stop. We don't want to add any more fiber to something in our intestine which is not moving. And I worked with a gal when I was in nursing, and she looked gray. She honestly looked gray, and I stopped her and I said, are you feeling okay? And she says, I'm so constipated. My doctor told me to take a very popular fiber product from the drugstore. I've been taking it every day for 30 days and nothing has happened. And yes, my mouth dropped open also. And I said, oh, you've got to stop that. Don't keep adding when nothing is coming out. So please, please know that you've got to give energy to that intestine for it to move the fiber. And sometimes some of us are kind of weak in that area. And so we've got to be conscious of whether that fiber is prompting things or it's just staying in the body and not moving through. So that's one of the most important things I want to mention here. Of course, if you have abdominal pain, particularly on the right lower quadrant, fevers, diarrhea, you have stomach ulcers, or you know you have ulcerated intestines, you might want to ask a little advice by your doctor before you start some of the cleansing products. Make sure you're doing right by your body there. Reactivity after taking psyllium, it's rare. We really haven't seen this, but people can be allergic to anything. And once in a great while, you'll have a person sensitive to psyllium fiber. And so if ever somebody complains of breathing or swallowing challenges or pain, yes, they should go to the emergency room in case they're having any kind of life-threatening allergy. And we have, in 34 years, we've had one person have some reactivity. So I want to say that's pretty rare as far as what I've seen. Pregnant or nursing women, this is just a good disclaimer for everybody. Should consult a practitioner and ideally should have a gentle cleanse of some nature. So I'm going to leave that up to you and the herbalist you're working with, talking to them as far as pregnancy or nursing. We have lots of options we can do, even using just extra magnesium to draw water into the intestine and promote more daily elimination. And this company is wonderful. Nature Sunshine has the best fact sheets. We can read about products on our company website, and I encourage everyone to do that. Have that in your bookmark tab so you can go directly there and check on products and read and become knowledgeable. So here we're going to get down to the absolute nitty-gritty on this. Cleansing is a daily solution. Just as you would shower or clean your kitchen every day, maybe hose off your deck, wash your face. Cleansing is a daily solution. Our body is working hard to keep itself clean, and a lot of it's our industrial society. It's added quite a bit of burden, and so it is important to be aware of helping our body out on a daily basis. So here we're going to showcase probably the first herb I ever took for cleansing, good old CASCARA SAGRADA. Dr. John Christopher said the Indians called it sacred bark, and those they gave it to called it a moving experience. So good old CASCARA, it's definitely in the classification of a laxative, which means it creates more movement in the colon and more elimination. It's considered a mild bowel cleanser. It does increase the peristaltic movement of the muscles within the colon, and that's good. It makes the colon muscles work. And I always say give them something to work out with, which is fiber. So we add a little fiber to CASCARA. We've got a nice friendly duo there. It increases bile production. Bile is produced in the liver and stored in the gallbladder. And when our bile is functioning correctly, that actually adds some laxative effect of its own. And CASCARA promotes friendly bacterial growth. So our net using CASCARA is a healthier peristalsis, digestion, good healthy liver energy. Instead of being congested in there, we have better liver function, gallbladder, digestive function all the way around. Now, if we feel we're having appendicitis or a lot of diarrhea to begin with, or we're pregnant and we're not used to taking herbs too much, we don't want to just jump for the CASCARA. There's some options to that. But overall, it's been a favored herb by many, many people and has given them very regular elimination. This is what I call a sister formula to CASCARA, LBS, the lower bowel stimulant. It is a superior laxative like CASCARA, very similar. Sometimes people's favorite will be CASCARA and others people's favorite will be LBS. Sometimes it's because LBS has other herbal supports within it, like buckthorn, licorice. Licorice root, by the way, actually is very soothing to the intestine. turkey rhubarb. These are all some mild laxatives combined. And of course it has a little base containing ginger, which is very commonly used by many people for gas. And ginger, by the way, is considered one of the most soothing herbs out there. So we like that. Capsicum, circulation, couch grass, which soothes, Oregon grapefruit, which grows rampantly in my neck of the woods. Oregon grape actually is where berberine comes from, and one of the sources of berberine. And berberine in the intestine helps the friendly bacteria grow and the unfriendly retreat. It's a wonderful, wonderful herb for the lymphatic system. And then of course we have red clover, very good for the blood and blood purification, liver purification. And so LBS, very popular. And I looked into Dr. Pedersen's nutritional herbology reference, and he said it was rich in calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and friendly plant sodium, which is actually an energizer to our adrenal glands. This is not the same as salt. Please know that. And it promotes the same as CASCARA, healthy regularity, healthy skin, it's soothing, it reduces stress in the liver and circulatory system. It definitely enhances the ability of our digestive and our kidneys and our water balance parts in our body. And the suggestion is 1 each meal, but I would suggest you start with 1. Then increase to 2 and go to the level that's working for you. Everybody's different. The same with CASCARA, I would start with 1. And I always encourage people to do this in the evening because that's when the immune cycle seems to work a little, and the cleansing cycle seems to be more active. And I like to give cleansers during that time to support the immune system and the activity of the cleansing system. And what I find is I don't need as much to get good results. And always remember, some of you may stop with just LBS or CASCARA and some fiber. And that's fine. You may not need a lot where other people need more. So we want to give you lots of options. But remember the complements if you're building your own program. And of course the psyllium hulls, that's one of our wonderful fibers. The probiotics, and we'll be talking more about probiotics in a moment. Digestive enzymes, we tend to encourage those if people have a lot of gas, especially if they have foul smelling gas, which is indicative that things may not be digesting completely as well as they should. Vitamins B and C support our digestion. Our wonderful liquid chlorophyll is a favorite in cleansing and a favorite of mine for children. It tends to promote the growth of friendly bacteria and is a sanitizer, deodorizer of the intestine, helps with body odor. And of course, aloe vera kind of resets the system when we're doing cleansing, kind of helps reset the whole balance. And I like aloe vera, and usually what we'll use is a tablespoon or 2 of chlorophyll, tablespoon or 2 of aloe vera with any of these products. Now, probiotics, just so you know a little bit more about them, we have probiotic 11. And keep in mind, remember, when you nourish your colon, you nourish your brain. And each capsule contains friendly bacteria, several different strains, up in the millions. This is a high-potency product. And it's what many, many people need because of the exposures to toxins. Toxins really can undermine our friendly bacteria populations. And so this is something that I think everybody can benefit. Remember in Dan Buettner's research on the blue zones around the world, these are the zones where people live the longest. All these people tended to consume yogurts or different foods that promoted the good probiotic balance of the body. And we want that longevity too, and probiotics can be one of the factors that may help us get there. And are you using fermented foods? Fermented foods such as sauerkraut, pickles of all sorts, these help feed the friendly probiotics. And I'm going to challenge everybody to keep some pickled vegetables in their refrigerator and bring them out on a daily basis. Even learn how to pickle your own. I just made some homemade pickles. I didn't can them. I just made the vinegar and spice solution and poured it over my fresh cut cucumbers and a day later, they're ready to eat. Simple. All right, we talked about chlorophyll, but I want to mention it just a little more, at least have a slide on it, so as you review these later on the website, you can remember that chlorophyll, actually I was taught it was one of the best blood purifiers. Excellent for natural blood cleansing. Anything that cleanses our blood is helpful for our colon, our kidneys, our skin, our lungs, our entire body. And so when we support the bowel area, we support our reproductive system, our circulatory system, and liquid chlorophyll worldwide is, I believe, our most popular product in Nature's Sunshine. It has a little bit of mint in it, and we used to have our kids drink it all the time. We'd always put it in some water, and we called it wonderful minty water. And instead of saying, you have to drink this, we would say, guess what? You get to have some chlorophyll. And when we phrased it that way, they loved it. Now we're going to move to some cleanses that were put together by herbalists. And this is a wonderful thing because in putting this together by herbalists, you already have a complete program. You don't have to be a pro. You can actually be it can be your first day in Nature's Sunshine, and you can share this with a friend and be confident that you're sharing a good product. So Clean Start is a 7-day cleanse if you take it twice a day. Now, we start people out, and this is just a personal thing with me, I start people out on it once a day where they take it in the evening. And I ask them to take it for 2 or 3 days just to let their body get used to it and see how they feel. If the transit time of the colon is more than a day, it's taking time. And how do you know that? Well, you can eat beets, or you can take charcoal, or you can eat that ear of corn if you decide to, and you can see whether that's coming through the next day. And so if you find your transit time isn't up to what you would like, then of course have Clean Start twice daily, morning and evening. And so our capsules, we have capsules and we have fiber, both in Clean Start. The capsule packets have the lower bowel stimulator called LBS, which we talked about, has 2 capsules of that, and body detox. And here is a new item, and we see the ingredients: gentian, Irish moss, got that cascara in it, golden seal, and these are very soothing and they're stimulating to digestive juice production. But the herbs in here soothe and stimulate digestive production overall. Some of these herbs are very, very helpful to grow the good bacteria, like your Oregon grape, black walnut. You've got bitter herbs in here, like dandelion, which stimulate the liver, uva ursi, which stimulates the kidneys, chickweed, very soothing, catnip. Catnip is a member of the mint family. And catnip is really great just to soothe the stomach. So this body detox ingredients, these are nice. This is a wonderful, wonderful formula. And of course, our goal with Clean Start is to support healthy detoxification of not just a part, but the whole liver, and we'll include that gallbladder with that bile flow, kidneys, colon, digestion. We can add some vitamin C to that because, you know, sometimes as we start cleansing, our bodies will dump heavy metals, they'll dump all kinds of things, and we'll have a little bit of aching and we'll feel a little, maybe not our most energetic. I would really encourage you to add vitamin C if that occurs to help your lymphatic system. Now, this also has cleansing drink packets, which have our psyllium and some products that are hard, a little bit hard. We usually call them FOS. They're types, well, this is an isomalto oligosaccharide. That's a real tongue twister. But these are products that help feed the friendly bacteria. They're natural products which feed friendly bacteria. And then it's in a base of aloe vera and our wonderful bentonite clay, which absorbs toxins, chlorophyll, carotenes, has a little bit of wild berry and a little natural sweetener there. And we definitely will be using this with our capsule packet. And Clean Start dissolves so easily into water. It just stirs in easily. Remember to drink it quickly. It turns to Jell-O almost, not Jell-O really, but it gels up a bit if we leave it. And some people throw their cleansing packet into a morning smoothie or protein drink also. So easy to take, and if you're going to start anywhere in cleansing, Clean Start's a great place to begin. After doing Clean Start, we may want to progress to the TAO pack. This is a harmonizing packet for the liver. And a lot of times we need a little deeper work within the liver. So these are 30 convenient packets. They work on pulling the stress downward in the liver and helping the liver release that. It's got our lower bowel stimulator, our body detox. It's got a little bit of fiber, our wonderful red clover, which is good for the liver and blood, and our great black walnut hulls, which tend to help the good bacteria flourish and somewhat suppressive to any negative microorganisms. And again, we start people out with one packet in the evening, see how they do. When they're ready, we have them add a packet in the morning, and many people choose to stay right there. They can add a third packet if they wish to, but we always allow people to go with their own pace. I've just found that's helpful. And they should be also drinking plenty of water and eating healthy. If we take in wonderful cleanses and we're eating junk food meals, our intestines going to war a little bit with that junk food when we're taking the cleanse. So our body will accept cleansing much better when we're eating healthy food. And I just wanted to throw in a little slide on the Chinese view of liver stress. Liver stress tends to come about to busy, overworked, overextended, on-the-run people who overconsume coffee and stimulants and wind down with alcohol, and they eat heavy foods like steak and potatoes and cheesecake and things late at night. It taxes the liver. And also another component, the emotional component, is if there's unresolved anger issues, resentment issues going on with life, all of those add together to really create a stressful issue with the liver. And if you see yourself with some of the manifestations listed here and that tension and maybe issues with mobility and stiffness and tired and cranky, all those types of things, feeling on edge, those may be some evaluation points where you can evaluate your need for the TAO-HA cleanse, because TAO-HA cleanse is tailor-made for these type of folks. And again, I would consider the Clean Start first and move to the TAO-HA cleanse. Now, here's some specialty cleanses, and we can't go wrong with them. One is Candida Clear, and this is to promote the healthy probiotic gut balance, and it's especially very, very appropriate to anybody who's been through rounds of antibiotics, even in childhood. If you're an adult and you went through rounds of antibiotics in childhood, and if you're tired a lot, you're bloated, you crave things, these are all things to ask yourself, do I need something to get a handle on this? If you have fillings in your mouth that are metal, or you think you've had metal exposures, we've seen folks with metal exposures, and that's a lot of us, require a little more help from products like Candida Clear. So we have our wonderful detox formula, YF, yeast fungal detox formula, 2 capsules. Each capsule has echinacea, which supports our lymphatic, caprylic acid, which is a fatty acid from coconuts, which helps that good ratio of proper bacteria. We don't want too much fungus in our body, and that can help that ratio. Podiarco or Podarco, same thing, helping restore proper ratios of microorganisms. Garlic, same thing. Oregano, selenium. Selenium's an amazing detoxifier, and it's particularly in some studies promotes health in the breast region too. And of course, zinc, very healing in its nature. So our packet number 1 has this YF detox formula, which I just mentioned, plus extra Podiarco and extra caprylic acid. Packet 2 are some specialty enzymes that help break down the yeast cellular wall and help it be destroyed. So this is a favorite packet of many practitioners. And often when people are beginning, and there's all kinds of things that people can lay on you as far as symptoms. It can get quite overwhelming. And so some practitioners will say, well, let's go through the clean start. We'll take a break of a week or two, and then we'll go through the TAO cleanse. And then we'll go right into the Candida clear. And they'll just go through a progressive here and add some good, healthy, energizing support, some just broad spectrum, energizing, healthy supplementation to this. And you really have a winning type of way to work with people and yourself. Here's just a short little slide on Podiarco, which has been shown to be very much promoting of helping the body deal with excess bacteria, viruses, fungus, and yeast. It's one of my favorite products. And when I first got into the business, there was somebody doing $2,000 a month in volume in New York selling only this product. And of course, people can use it just to support their immune system all the way to heavy-duty challenges that they choose to use this for. So amazing herb, one of my top 10 favorites. So with that detox formula targeting Candida, our Candida Clear, here's a slide that just basically gives you an overview of what I just said. But do take it separately from any oral thiamine, which is a B supplement, metal ion supplements such as calcium, magnesium. So we might want to take this last thing at bed when we're not taking a lot of other supplements or alkaloid containing medications. So we want to follow a diet that promotes healthy probiotics. We want to get rid of the excess dairy, sugar, fruit, wheat, mold containing products like cheese, alcohol, junk foods. That's going to be important. So do reference this slide again on what we want to eat, because we are going to only emphasize healthy proteins, vegetables, soups, a few nut and seed milks, and healthy oils while we're on this cleanse. And that brings us to the PAK. I would definitely include this as we go and we work down through the system. So many people have a certain level of parasitic activity in their system. I have a big computer which has over 8,000 remedy matches it can test people on. Nobody's a zero on matches to remedies for these sorts of issues. Everybody has a certain level of microorganism activity that might be construed as parasitical in certain nature. And of course, we can even have visible worms and parasites too. So PAK, I have been surprised many times by this when people have gone on it and they've been shocked that symptoms they didn't even think were related. Things with how they focused, things within their respiratory system or their skeletal system or urinary system improve from using. There's two capsules, and the first two capsules have herbal pumpkin. And this is from basically a pumpkin seed blend combined with walnut hulls, black walnut hulls, turkey rhubarb, violet leaf, chamomile, mullein, marshmallow, slippery elm, zinc, and phosphorus rich are the minerals that would be appropriate for that particular formula, zinc and phosphorus. It also has 2 capsules of caprylic acid, which is made from our coconuts. By the way, caprylic acid is found in mother's milk. That's how gentle this is in a way, but also how powerful. And this is in a base of black walnut, red raspberry, and elecampane. And these products are chosen because they tend to be antagonistic to these microbacteria and negative floras and parasites. They're helping the body regain a healthy balance. So, and then there's an elecampane combination formula. So at least consider the PAK twice a year. It's a 10-day supply. But I always, when I do the PAK with people, I run it a straight 30 days. I don't even take time off. We just run it a straight 30 days because we have found that some of these issues are much tougher than we have thought. There are crazy things out there happening with people and their microbial balances and what they're getting into and getting into their system. So the PAK, we personally at the Herbal Health Center in Portland, we use it for a full 30 days. And we have our clients eliminate dairy and sugar, and we have them include black mission figs, maybe extra enzymes. They can even do the TAO cleanse while they're on this too. See what your client or how you yourself feel about it. We always say go by your gut. Go by your gut response a little bit. So here's the recommended use. It's used just before a couple meals each day. And the LBS or CASCARA can certainly be used in conjunction. If you're nursing or pregnant, we don't want to do real deep, powerful cleanses with people. So this is one we're careful of for sure. And there's a little bit here in the notes about the black mission figs and the fresh pineapple and what to eat. And this is just so you can look on the website and have your references. So who's the most susceptible to parasites? Well, of course, people who work in hospitals, waste management, people who work with children, people who work with animals. But it's not just that. Parasites can come from food, water, pets, travel, swimming in lakes, streams, ponds, eating sushi. Please don't make your own sushi unless you know it's sushi grade fish. Very important. Can also come from raw fruits and vegetables that haven't been washed, consuming undercooked meat, or even using the same cutting board for meats and produce, litter boxes. So anybody ever have contact with any of those? Yeah, like all of us. So yes, all of us would do well to consider a parasite cleanse a couple times a year. It would be interesting to see how we would do. And of course, there's some lifestyle things that we can look at, like drinking filtered water and washing or peeling our fruits and vegetables. We can take our sunshine concentrate, I believe you have that in Canada, and putting a half teaspoon in our sink and a couple tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide and letting our fruits and vegetables soak in that for 10 or 15 minutes before we put them in the refrigerator. And of course, rinse them off. We can be a little careful of street vendors, some salad bars. Just kind of go by your gut instinct again. Wash your hands before you eat. Very, very good rule. And be careful when you eat out about food that's been sitting around a while. Be careful of those. Wash your sponges in the dishwasher daily. Better yet, maybe don't use sponges. And sanitize your cutting boards. You can use your wonderful silver products to do that. And then review your lifestyle. We want the best in success for you. So when I read something fascinating to me on a menu in Indonesia last week, and it said, when you detox, this is a time to detox everything in your life that is harmful to you in any way. And that's pretty profound. That takes a little thought to decide what to do with that statement. But I just want to ask you, are you releasing your toxic emotions in a timely manner? And emotions are actually to serve us for good, but they can become toxic if we're holding on to anger and those types of things. Are you releasing those and talking them out? Are you releasing toxic mindsets like unforgiveness and pessimism, any negative words, those types of things? Think about that. That bears a little thinking about. What are we eating, and are we eating too much? When we eat too much, that sets us up for more needing to cleanse. And are we eating in a peaceful atmosphere where we digest properly? So there's lots of food for thought here. We've gone over a lot. Our time rushes by. Who needs detoxification though? We all do. And like we say here, do something for your body today that your future self will thank you for. And I want to thank you all. And I know there's some wonderful promotions, so we can get started on our spring cleaning. And I want to turn this back over to Rancha so she can share those with you.
Well, thank you so much, Sylvie. That was fantastic and great information. If you do have any questions, now is the time to type those in while I go through these last minute information here. So we have a promotion just for attendees only. The following products, LBS2, CASCARA, SAGRADA, Probiotic 11, and the Tauhi PAK are all 10% off with full PV. It's strictly through phone and fax only, and it's available until April 10th, so Sunday. So just wanted to make you aware of that. Just again, reminders, our Sharing Sunshine promotion for the month of April. For every new sign up, they will receive a free vitamin C with a $75 sign up order. So that's for the month of April. So just a reminder. Next. So we have some great upcoming webinars. April 11th, we have new business associate welcome webinar that's at 12 noon Eastern. April 13th is our manager development webinar, and that's on herbal hours, back to basics. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern. April 18th, we'll have a webinar at 9 p.m. on what is Inform, and you can learn more about the Inform program and invite people to learn more. And then on the 25th, we have the NSP Opportunity webinar and learning. You can invite people in your organization or people, clients, preferred customers, those types of things that want to learn more about the business opportunity to join us on that webinar on April 25th at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then just a reminder, our May seminar tour is going to be happening soon. So it's May 2nd we begin for 5 days, and it's going to be Mississauga, Vernon, Kelowna, St. Albert, and then Vancouver, BC. Very excited to have Dr. J speaking to us, and the topic is "You are only as young as your metabolic age," and he'll be talking about daily essential nutrients required for a transformational habit of healthy aging. So if you are located in those areas, please make sure that you register and be a part of those events. And finally, exciting for the month of April, the I-Inspire trip was announced for Canada, and it's Cancun, Mexico at the beautiful Rio Resort. And so it's double points with each new manager breakout. So each time you break out a new manager in your group, you're going to earn double points towards the I-Inspire qualifications for that level. And that's only for the month of April. So I hope you guys are taking advantage of that. That's super exciting. So really excited to promote that, and all the information about I-Inspire is on the website. You can check out the videos and different things like that. So very excited about this promotion. So that's all I have for this evening. I haven't seen any questions come in. So I do want to thank Sylvia. Thank you so much again for your time, and your preparation this evening was fantastic. Again, this has been recorded and will be put up on the website hopefully by Friday or at the latest on Monday. And don't forget about the promotion. Take advantage of those specials until Sunday. So feel free to do that. And we look forward to welcoming you, talking to many of you on our different webinars coming up in the next couple of weeks. So again, thank you for being with us this evening, and thank you again, Sylvia.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.